Pleasure to be joined by so many leading voices for educational success here in Illinois, including our Illinois Education Association President Kathy Griffin, Senator Ram Villavalam, Representative Tara Costa Howard, Senator Selena Villanueva, Representative Deb Conroy, and Representative Jamie Andrade Jr. I also want to welcome Jill Scarcelli, a library associate at Troy Community Schools in Joliet, here today to share her story as a state leader in the community of educational support staff. It's enormously important to ensure that Jill and all of Illinois' education professionals have not only what they need to support the students and families that they serve, but also to care for themselves and for their own families too. That's why over the last 2.5 years, working together with the General Assembly, we've raised the minimum salary of our teachers, we've raised the minimum wage for everyone working in schools to a living wage, we've increased school funding to historic levels, and we've ensured that educators and support staff can use their paid leave with a new child under any circumstances. It's the same commitment to safe and healthy schools that led me to protect children, parents, and staff by temporarily requiring masks in P-12 schools in the latest battle against the Delta variant of the COVID-19 virus. As students and adults alike return to the classroom, in many cases after a difficult year of virtual learning, it's important to treat school staff with as much care as they have demonstrated in supporting our students. That's why I'm very proud to be signing an expansion of the Family and Medical Leave Act that will cover thousands of education support professionals across the state of Illinois. For nearly 30 years, FMLA has allowed nursing mothers time to recover, fathers to bond with their newborn, families the flexibility they need to care for loved ones, and service members time for personal care, all without the threat of losing their jobs. This is an essential human benefit, and one that before now had not been extended to some of our hardest working education professionals, many of whom work only a limited number of summer hours and can't meet the current threshold. That includes our school secretaries, our teachers' aides, maintenance workers, school bus drivers, and cafeteria workers, just to name a few. For too long, we have asked our school staff to provide exceptional care supporting kids in school without giving them the grace and flexibility to care for themselves and their families. It's an omission that undermines the value of their work and the reality of their lives away from school grounds. But on January 1st, that omission will be eliminated. It's a victory for education support professionals, but also for their families, for school districts, and the entire state of Illinois. Allowing for temporary leave has been proven to retain skilled employees, boost morale and productivity on the job, and ensure vulnerable community members get the assistance that they need. Most of all, it's another way that Illinois is shaping our policies to reflect our values, a critical aspect of ensuring ours is a state where all working families can thrive. So I want to thank everyone that's joined us here today. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the bill's champion in the House and someone who has been a great partner, working hard not just for the people of her district, but for people all across the state of Illinois, especially when it comes to education, and that's Representative Tara Costa Howard. Representative?
Good morning, everyone. I'm very proud to be here today to celebrate the passage of this important bill, which gives fair access to family medical leave to our hourly employees employed by our Illinois public schools, our community colleges, and our state universities. The Federal Family Medical Leave Act recognizes that working people shall have the right to take a leave of absence when they are seriously ill, when they need to take care of a family member who's having a health issue, or maybe when they have a baby or a new family member with them. But under federal rules, most workers are eligible for family leave after a calendar year of full-time employment. But unfortunately, the structure of our our school calendars has meant that many hourly employees of our public school systems had to wait almost a year and a half to be able to achieve that eligibility. But this law changes that. Our hardworking support professionals are the unsung heroes and heroines of our educational system. And as you know, I'm very passionate about public education because I know that our education support professionals play crucial roles in making our schools safe, healthy, and efficient places where students can learn and grow. Now, by signing House Bill 12 into law, Illinois is once again a leader in education, as we will be only the second state in the nation to pass such landmark legislation. Governor Pritzker is making sure that the people who keep our schools running smoothly have fair access to FMLA when they face illness and other life-changing events with their families. So I'm very proud that both sides of the aisle in the General Assembly stood up for Illinois' dedicated school and college workers in our state. And to my leader, Jamie Andrade, and Representative Deb Conroy in the House, thank you for your support in helping us get this over the finish line. But more importantly, I would like to thank the Illinois Education Association for their powerful advocacy and unrelenting support and dedication to this bill. And to my Senate sponsor, Ron Villavalum, we all did this together and we got it done. But most of all, I want to thank the many educational professionals who will now be covered under this bill, under this law. I know how much all of you did this past year in particular, keeping our schools and our students safe and on track during this pandemic, and we're grateful for all that you do. And I am so proud that Illinois is providing you with the fair access to medical leave that not only have you earned, but you deserve. So on behalf of the Illinois General Assembly and the people of the state of Illinois, I want to thank all of you who work in our public education system and our education systems around the state for everything that you do each and every day on behalf of our children and our communities. So thank you. And now I would like to introduce my partner in this legislation, Senator Ron Villavalum.
Thank you, Representative Costa-Howard, and thank you, Governor, for inviting us here today. As was mentioned, my name is Ron Villavalum. I'm the state senator for the 8th District. Today is a great day for educators and staff at public schools. Today, we are tearing down barriers to family and medical leave that have prevented working families from seeking or providing necessary care for far too long. Every day, our educators and staff are working on the front lines to provide a quality education for our youth. This legislation, House Bill 12, is about dignity and respect. It's not enough, as we've learned over the last year, to thank an essential worker. We must back and pass and sign policies that will make their wages, benefits, and working conditions what they deserve. It also is about talent. As the governor mentioned, we have seen the private sector, we have seen other countries expand paid and medical leave for their employees. We need to keep up. We need to make sure that we continue to attract the best talent, and we need to make sure that we're allowing these employees that are so critical to our youth's education the ability to stay in these jobs. There are a lot of times up until now where, simply put, they could not afford to stay. And so with that, I want to thank Governor Pritzker again, Representative Costa-Howard, members of the Illinois Education Association, President Griffin. This is happening today because of you all, because of your advocacy. You were just mentioning that it's been years in the making, and here we are today. So thank you for your work on House Bill 12. Thank you for paving the way for a very necessary and comprehensive conversation on paid family and medical leave. The governor, I got special permission to be here from my wife, who's 18 days away from our birth of our second child. I assume part of that is because of the content of this press conference today. So with that, it is my honor to be here, and I would like to introduce the next speaker, someone who works every single day for the health and safety and education of our youth, and to make sure that we continue to teach, continue to have the best public employees, student in the schools, President Griffin. Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Griffin, and I am a teacher. I worked in Schaumburg School District for 30 years before having the opportunity to serve as president of the Illinois Education Association. Throughout my years in teaching in Schaumburg, I knew that our school would not be able to provide a quality learning experience for our students without the partnership that we had with our ESPs. ESPs, or Education Support Professionals, are education employees who have jobs like the secretary, cooks, healthcare, bus drivers, maintenance workers, and paraeducators, all who work tirelessly to support students. Unfortunately, some of our ESPs, many who are 10-month employees, were a bit short of the number of hours federally required to qualify for FMLA benefits. In many school districts across the state, this meant that when these amazing education employees had to care for themselves or a family member's health, they had a very difficult decision to make. They would be forced to deny care of a loved one or resign from their job. Or if it was the employee who was sick, they may not be guaranteed their position once they got better and lose their health insurance, all while the only reason they needed to take a leave was due to a health condition. We thank Representative Costa Howard and Senator Villavelum for shepherding this legislation. It received overwhelming support in both the Senate and the House. And having Governor Pritzker sign this bill into law shows the respect and care all of you have for our ESPs. You have made a positive difference in the lives of thousands of Illinoisans, and we, the 135,000 members of the Illinois Education Association, thank you. I would now like to introduce my colleague, Jill Scarselli.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to attend today. I am truly honored to be here. I am Jill Scarselli, an elementary school library associate in the Troy 30C School District and the ESP Council Chair for the Illinois Education Association. In the ever-changing world of education, education support professionals are more essential now than ever to the well-being and the education of the whole child. They transport, nourish, support, and care for each child and maintain a healthy and safe environment on the front lines and behind the scenes. The passage of HB 12 is such an important bill because it lowers the hours needed to qualify for the family medical leave. As ESP Council Chair, I am privileged to hear from education support professionals from all around the state. And it is heartbreaking to hear when the imaginable choices some support staff have to make when faced with life-altering events. This is not a time when someone should be worrying about losing their job. HB 12 honors the important work ESPs do as they support students, families, and communities. Thank you to Representative Costa Howard and Senator Villavelum for leading this charge, and thank you to Governor Pritzker for signing this bill today and supporting education support professionals. This will be so beneficial for so many who do so much for our students. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jill. And so I'm going to sign the bill. Everybody's going to stay pretty much where they are, and we'll get pictures a little later. Thank you, and happy to take any questions from members of the media.
There are a lot of Republicans who don't say so, and a lot even were co-sponsors, but there are none in the invited.
We're always inviting Republicans to join us whenever there's something to celebrate that they've been involved in, but the sponsors of the bills are here, of the bill, rather, are here.
You're having a bill signing ceremony for this bill, but not for the Chicago School Board bill, which, is one of those top line priority cases, legislation this year. Why did you not have a bill signing ceremony for that?
Well, as you know, Hannah, there are 660 bills that landed on my desk. We're trying to have a number of signing ceremonies as we feel necessary. We also wanted to get that done as soon as possible because we're all working on I believe a trailer bill is being worked on, and we wanted to make sure that there was an understanding that that bill would get worked on between now and when the General Assembly meets again to consider something.
How many educational support staff people are there in the state of Illinois?
How many total in the state of Illinois educational support staff?
I'm not sure. We have,
Yeah, I guess how many people are going to be impacted by this?
well, we have,
Go ahead.
what we do know is the number of members that we have, and all of our support professionals are not members of the union. And we have over 25,000 members that are part of the Illinois Education Association. However, there are more. We also have our IFT brothers and sisters who are also education professionals. So this definitely will impact thousands of people, along with the benefits that will impact their families.
Thousands or tens of thousands?
Tens of thousands. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Can we clarify, does this give the FMLA benefit from day one or only after 1 year? Because federal guidelines are mentioned in 2 years. So does this just make sure that after 1 year they all qualify for it?
Obviously, there are still other thresholds. So the federal FMLA requires 1,250 hours. This bill reduces that hourly to 1,000 hours. They still have to have 12 months of employment, but again, the reduction in the number of hours to attain that level allows our school personnel to achieve it in a quicker.
And Taman, we'll get you the answer to your question, the number of support professionals that will benefit from the bill.
And Kathy, Randy Weinstein came out, I think, over the weekend and said she supports the vaccine mandate for teachers. What is your union's position on that?
Well, the Illinois Education has always said that we believe that in-person learning is best for our students when it is in a safe environment. Right now, we did a polling of our members in June, and about 80% of our members in June had been vaccinated. So we do support the vaccination. We do believe that vaccines are the way out of this pandemic. And if a school district is going to do that, we just ask that they work with their local union to bargain. And oftentimes when you say bargain, everybody thinks you're saying no. And that's not true. What we're asking as far as bargaining is making sure that the processes are put into place. What are the processes for those employees who, due to medical or religious reasons, are not able to be vaccinated? So we just, if that is something that a local would like to do, we just ask that they work with the staff, the union leaders there, to make sure that everything is put into place.
Governor, can you address the issue of the lawsuit that has now been filed downstate, like they're daily challenging the mask mandated schools, and we hear talk that there are others percolating out here in the suburbs that could be pending.
You mean the lawsuit that was filed by, I think, an attorney, not by Darren Bailey?
The attorney represented, yeah, that's Tom DeWar, yeah.
Yeah. Well, every lawsuit he's filed has failed. And mandatory masks in schools, that's something that we've had before. And certainly we are still in an emergency. I think we can all see that the Delta variant is beginning to overtake parts of the country. ICU beds are now full, as I understand, in a number of states. And as you know, just because it's happening somewhere else does not mean that it's not coming to Illinois. We see our case numbers going up, our hospitalizations going up, and So we're watching very carefully, but this is a vital part of keeping people safe and healthy across the state, not just the students and the people who work in our schools, but also the families that live in that community, the families not only of the students, but the others who live in a community. So this is why it's so important.
Governor, can you talk about,
If I can just follow up.
sure,
Because downstate in Marion, there was a student who was suspended for refusing to wear a mask coming in. What are school districts supposed to do when kids show up, maybe they're vaccinated, maybe they're not, and they don't wear the mask? What are they supposed to do?
Well, school districts have been enforcing dress codes for many, many years. And so they're expected simply to do the same thing they've been doing literally for decades. And, you know, I expect that people will do the right thing nonetheless and not put their school district in a difficult situation of having to tell somebody, you know, follow the rules.
Governor, do you see an uptick in the number of children here in Illinois being hospitalized? Because that is happening across the country. What can you tell us about that?
We do, and I can get you some of the statistics. When we had a press conference last week about the mask mandate, Dr. Ezike talked about the percentage increases that we've seen among young people. But, you know, what's happening in the rest of the country, very much the same as what's happening in Illinois in terms of the increase in particularly not just young people under 18, but those under 30. There's a vast increase in the number of people who are going into the hospital who are in the age bracket of everybody under 30 all the way down to, you know, those who are unable to get vaccinated today, which are those under 12.
Governor, would you consider altering your state, your frontline state worker vaccine mandate to kind of be modeled on the president's federal workers and contractors mandate? That allows opt-outs in exchange for regular testing and social distancing.
As you know, our focus is on those who are serving in 24/7 facilities, those who are most vulnerable in our state. And so that's our focus on the requirement to get vaccinated. But certainly we're always considering what else we need to do in the state, whether it's a vaccination requirement for other state workers or other kinds of mitigations.
Has COVID ended that for state workers?
Yeah, so we're, you know, obviously this has been a problem. So yes, those state workers are not allowed anymore to take that kind of COVID pay time, off time.
Governor, can we talk about what happened in Chicago over the weekend? 78 shot, 11 dead. I know that you're playing a role in the Illinois State Police, but it really is so much out of control. 2 police officers. What are you? How frustrated? What do you think of all this?
Well, let me begin by saying that the family of the Officer French who passed away deserve to have the entire state grieve for their daughter, someone who has served honorably for the Chicago Police Department as well as for the public of the state of Illinois, and I grieve with them. There is also another officer, as you know, who's fighting for his life, who's in the hospital now, her partner. And it is outrageous that police are being shot at. It is outrageous that we have violence that is boiling over. And it's not just in Chicago. It's in other parts of the state, and it's also all across the nation. COVID-19 has brought, because of some of the economic damage of COVID-19, it has brought on increased not just violence, but crime more broadly. And it's an extraordinarily challenging situation for every city. But we must do everything in our power. As far as the state government is concerned, not only have we offered and provided state police assistance, but we also have doubled the amount of funding provided for violence interruption programs, violence prevention programs, and we've significantly increased the number of dollars going into communities that are being ravaged by crime and particularly by gun violence. We've got to do more to keep guns out of the hands of criminals. We've got to do more to interdict the guns that are coming across the border from states that have, systems of tracking that are nowhere near what we have in the state of Illinois, the guns. So we've got to just reduce the number of illegal guns on the streets in addition to supporting the work of those violence interrupters.
Do one more.
Do you support the idea of mandating serial numbers on ammunition? I know there are some bills that have been filed, I don't know what the status of them, but there seems to be a renewed push to get ammunition serial.
I haven't seen anything like that yet in Illinois, but look, I think all ideas thrown on the table to go after the challenge that we're seeing in violent crime are things that we all ought to be talking about and figuring out.
All right, thanks, everyone.